Even given the worthless appraisers class, I'm actually the strongest. Now that sounds like a generic isekai name, but no, this is an adventure fantasy. No isekai here. So let's get on with it. Now, our boy Ian was born in a world where your fate is decided as soon as you're born, because when you're born is when you receive your skill. Now, apparently, those skills are mostly genetic. It's passed down throughout the generation. If your parents have a certain skill, it's very likely that the children or it will have also that exact same skill. So it's not like a lottery system where you luck out or maybe no, it's genetic. So it is mostly the commoners have crappy common skills, and it's the nobles that have the very top tier combat orientated or other such skills that is very much useful for day-to-day situations, whether it be combat or not. But our boy Ian was born with the appraiser skill. Now his parents apparently they died and they were merchants. But since they died and Ian was still at a very young age, he didn't he didn't have the same business savvy as his parents. So the only option that he found to survive was to join the Adventurers Guild. Now, with the Adventurers Guild being the having the appraiser class, he was being turned away from joining others people party. Now, sadly, being turned away again and again, he was desperate, and when finally two people allowed him to join his party, they were treating him horribly, like a meal. The only thing that he was allowed to do, or what he could do, was after the two of them, the jerks. That's how I'm going to refer to them, the two jerks. They when they defeat the enemy, our main character Ian, he we have his appraiser skill. He looks at the body of the monster, and he looks at what body part is worth money, and he disassemble the body parts and put them in his backpack. Now, sadly, they found a hidden dungeon where it was a lot of hellhounds scattered throughout the floor, and our the two jerks were greedy. They was like, oh, those are so many hellhounds, we make bank. But our main character Ian, he was like, this is very suspicious. Hellhounds are not supposed to be in this part. And for many of them to be dead, something has to be going on. He was strongly suggesting let's not be greedy. Our lives are more important. Let's go back to the village and find out what's happening here. But those two jerks, like always, thinking that they know better, practically were well. You can go away, but you can go by yourself and be kicked out of the party, practically forcing him to come along with them to a very dangerous situation. And lo and behold, there was a lot of hellhounds, starving, hungry, and they were just doing natural selection, killing the weak so the strong would survive. And now that we have three beautiful prey in front of us, obviously the hellhounds were going to pounce. So, what the two jerks and our main character does? Well, the two those two do a paralysis spell on our boy and leave him there as a mid shield, as bait to for the hellhounds. and those two just run away. Now our boy, yeah, he managed to escape, but he's cornered. He launched himself off a cliff, and he lands on a world tree. Apparently, there was a huge world tree, and out of nowhere it disappeared, and were scholars because not valuable but how important the world tree is in order to maintain the world in balance. They suspect, well, the world tree disappeared but nothing has changed, so we suspect that there's other world trees out there hidden, and our boy found one of them. He landed in a world tree with water that has healing properties, and he managed to heal and survive with the water from the world tree. Now, I'm going to be very honest, it was a little bit brutal watching the way that those two jerks were treating our main character. It was a little bit tough. I don't know why, because I have watched many animes where our main character or side character gets treated badly for half or a couple of minutes, and I never have any problems with it. But I don't know, there was just something about this specific main character, or that it was not rubbing me the wrong way per se, but like I was very much feeling for him. And I don't know, it's because maybe the detail of the facial expressions that they were drawing, they were showing in the anime, or maybe I don't know. It's just something that I just don't know why it affected me this much. This one specific anime when I never had that problem with any else. But that's just me. So let's continue. Now, our boy being down there in the world tree, he has to find a way out. He's all alone. He doesn't see any food. So he just has to climb out and leave the dungeon. But the problem is that since a hidden dungeon and obviously the world tree, there's a lot of very strong monsters down there, and he found out quick. Being he would have died if it wasn't for the elf that is the guardian of the world tree. He would have died, but the world tree wanted him alive, so she even though that she personally didn't want to, she agreed to save him, and again heal him with the water of the world tree. Now, in here is revealed that yes, this is the world tree, but the world tree also has like a spiritual form that looks also like an elf, and her name is Yuri, and she is very cute and adorable. Out of all she's very cute, adorable, and I don't out of all the characters, she's just I would say out of this anime, she's best girl. That she's just cute and adorable. I know that already said that a couple of times, but it's true. I mean, look at the face. Now, uh, yes, like I said, she's the world tree, but we also have the guardian, which name is, I every time I see it, always reminded of the Little Mermaid. The name of the guardian is Ursula. Now, even though that she's technically the guardian of the world tree, the spirit jury refers to her as her mother, since practically she's been there since before the world tree, that specific world tree, grew to adulthood. So Yuri refers to Ursula as mostly as mother, and it's very adorable, since Ursula, even though they both are mostly the same age, but Ursula technically is the oldest and the mother, but she's just so short compared to Yuri. This make a funny dynamic. Now they see the problem that our boy Ian is weak, so Yuri begs Ursula to train him. And this one is where it gets good and also gets disappointed at the same time. Because the way they decide to train him, and they find out that he can use his appraiser skills in a multitude of different ways. Instead of simply appraising the name or the species of the monster, he can appraise different stuff like, okay, where this monster, where I can appraise where he's going to attack me. I can appraise in the direction that he's going to move. I can appraise the timing of his attack. So they teach him very clever and very interesting ways how to use his appraiser skill. I was very much blown away because this is something that even though the appraiser skill has appeared in many other anime, this is the very first time that it's used in this way. And I was very intrigued and very entertaining, and I was just a very clever way to put a new spin on this skill that has appeared in other animes. But in this way is the part where it gets disappointing, because when he finally gets enough strength to be able to defeat certain monsters, they also teach him that he can appraise the ability of the monster so he can copy it and make it his own. And that's where you just get a generic power fantasy where the character just continues to appraise and appraise and appraise fallen monsters' ability, and he becomes super OP. So OP that in the after he leaves that certain dungeon and goes out and explore the world and other places, he never uses it again. Yes, he does use the appraiser skills, but he doesn't use it in the same way. He doesn't use his appraiser skill to look at the trajectory or where he's going to aim, the timing of the attack. It only the after the train at least after the training and he live in that certain secret dungeon, that aspect of the appraiser skill is not shown again, and it was disappointing because they show a very clever and unique mechanic and they didn't use it again. They just turned to any other, like a typical isekai, turned into a power fantasy where he copies and copies and copies kills until he becomes super OP and strong, where he's just killing monster with a swipe of his sword or a swipe of his hand or just fireball and dead. So I was disappointed in that aspect. Now, they apparently he did finish his training. Now it was even though that he did get stronger, he's not like he was instantly invincible. He did suffer a lot of injuries along the way because it was a Spartan training. She put him through the ring, or he was constantly getting injured, getting limbs, ear. The only one that they showed was the ear, but yeah, limbs being cut off and everything. And she just simply with the water of the world trees and good as new continue training. It was a lot of gruesome training. Now finally the training was over, he's become strong enough, and they want him to do them a favor, and that is that Yuri wants to go out to the world, and she wants to find her sister, because apparently once the world tree was won in the upper overworld, let's say overworld. Once the world tree was super huge, and everybody knows where it was and everything, but apparently the world tree disappeared, and the smaller world trees were split up, and apparently there's like eight of them, and and they refer to themselves as sisters, and jury wants the main character's help in order to find the other world trees in order to reunite with her family. Now, Yuri, I already said this, she's just adorable. The way every single interaction, she's enamored with him. But our boy is a little bit, even though he's acknowledged that she's beautiful, and he even tells her that into her face. Bravo to him, a little bit of a risk there. But maybe I think he's in love with her. This is my speculation. I think he's in love with her, but he still feels like he's not completely worthy because of the trauma of his past. So he's not courageous enough to just simply blur out "I love you." Now, because of that, our boy, each time that he finds a new world tree and they join him on his journey, not only the spirit of the world tree, but also the guardian that they also refer to as mother, the dude is having a huge harem. I mean, he's only half of the world trees, and he already has a harem of like seven girls. Once he finally finds all eight trees, man, he's going to have like what 12. Yes, he's going to have a huge harem, and not all of them are going to fall in love with him. At least the spirits of the world trees are the only ones that I'm seeing that have romantic interest in him, not the guardians. But still, it's just him surrounded by a lot, and I mean a lot of girls. But hey, for everybody their own. Now, I think I'm going to leave it here. I only talk about like the first 3 to 4 episodes. If you want to find out what happens next, give the anime a chance. I think that this one was very good. I enjoyed the main character and the side characters. Though all of them were very much enjoyable. The story, he surviving, making a promise, reuniting her to her other world tree, her sisters, is is very interesting. I want to see the other world trees and how the story goes. The fighting animation was actually very well done. It's not. It simply it was very well done. The fighting animation. I have zero problems with it. There was no dip in animation, no dip in quality. It maintained. It was a very steady animation quality, and the fight, like I said, the fighting animation, whether it be swordsmanship or magic, it was done very well. I have zero complaints with it. No shortcuts, no cutting corners. Well done. Is it a top tier solo leveling level? No. Sorry that I'll bring that up as an example, but it's a still good fighting animation. Very solid. And let me see what else. Yeah, well, let me see. Fighting animation, story, characters, the comedy. It was the comedy. This is mostly adventure fantasy. There wasn't much of the way of jokes in this one. Practically not at all. Maybe you laugh at the hijinks that they get with one another, but it wasn't straight up making a joke. So there wasn't much of comedy. It's mostly like regular humor. It was humorous with these situations that they were getting themselves into. I'm going to say. Now, I'm gonna leave it here. Sorry that the video got longer than I intended to. I was trying to make it 15 minutes at most, but I, I, I enjoy talking about this one. Now, I'm going to give this one the score of 8, an 8 out of 10. A very good anime. Now, I do want a season 2, and I want to see the other world trees, their location, their dungeons, because each one of them is hidden in a dungeon. And I want to see what with certain other, without giving a spoiler, but I'm just want to see where the story goes along. So this one, yes, I want a second season. If I never get one, a little bit disappointed, but it's not going to be the end of the world. Now I'm going to leave it here. Now have a good day, have a good night wherever you're from, and see you next video.